Once again, welcome everyone to our special customers only session. Today, we're going to better understand how you can use Similarweb's new MCP, helping you to put trusted market data into AI workflows. I'm Roy for Similarweb's product marketing team, and I'm joined today by our in-house expert, Omri Andrew Shuran. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Omri, starting with you.
Hi everyone, I'm the VP of Data and DaaS in Similarweb, and great to be here. Andrew.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Andrew. I lead our solution architect team here at Similarweb. We focus on integrating data into our clients' workflows and helping them extract value from it. So great to be here.
Hey all, I'm Shiran and I'm a senior enterprise client success manager here at Similarweb. Just making sure you get the maximum value from the platform. So it's nice being here.
Thank you so much, Shiran and team. We have a great session ahead, including a live demo and time for your questions. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat at any time. We'll also have time to go through them during our Q&A section. So today's agenda includes covering the basics. What is MCP and why it matters? Then we'll dive deeper into key use cases that you can already use with our new MCP and discover what metrics you can see in it. And of course, we will explain how you can connect your platform to the MCP and set it up, including a live demo. Then we will have a few live examples of how you can already use our AI agents in web intelligence today. And finally, we will have a sneak peek into what's coming next in our roadmap, and of course, time to answer all your burning questions. But before we start, we have a quick question for you. You should see the live poll now on your screen, and we want you to be honest and think if you have to think about where your organization is today in terms of AI maturity, where would you rank it? Is it just exploring? Are you just thinking about ad hoc experiments and no production use until today? Are you piloting? Do you have a few teams already testing some workflows? Is it the operational status with a few production workflows already running? Or are you already scaling with multiple functions, standardized governance? Or do you think you're already at an advanced stage with AI native practices across the organization? So we'll give it just a few seconds for you to answer, and we appreciate your engagement. We should see the results coming very shortly. And here it is. We have a very close tie between piloting, operational, and scaling. The minority chose either exploring or advanced. Andrew, any thoughts? Is this a surprising outcome?
No, I think it's interesting and it's really in line with what we're kind of seeing industry wide in that like not many feel like they're in this sort of advanced portion of their AI integration. So seeing piloting and scaling coming up a lot is it makes a lot of sense. And like I said, it is in line with what we're seeing from an industry perspective. So you're not alone. Only 1% of companies, according to McKinsey, believe that they've achieved AI maturity. And perhaps this is down to the historical accuracy of the AI models. So, OpenAI have openly stated that hallucinations are a mathematical inevitability. And in their recent QA testing, their GPT-5 mini model, it hallucinated 26% of the time. And the industry data from McKinsey as well shows that this rate of hallucination has, employees concerned. Half of those that were surveyed by McKinsey indicated that they worry about the accuracy of AI. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, don't worry. Companies are starting to see ROI on their workflow efforts. So this is a report that we looked at from Google into the return on investment of AI. And 52% of companies reported having adopted AI agents in production. And 74% of the executives at those companies are already seeing ROI on Gen AI use cases. So, it's clear that despite the friction points with integrating AI, there's much to be gained for those who implement it well. So I think, what we want to understand is where MCP fits into this and why does it matter? So what is MCP? You can kind of think of it as this universal adapter that connects AI applications to external data sources. It takes sources, like Similarweb and makes them instantly available and usable in the AI-enabled environments you're already working in. So those could be chatbots like Claude or within AI agents. And for you guys, it means that Similarweb data becomes accessible and actionable inside of those workflows. Now, this is what it is, but it's also important to understand a little bit about how it works. So a MCP is this kind of new standard, and it's established a universal way for LLMs to connect with external data sources. Now, if we do a comparison here and take the before, so let's take utilizing APIs compared with MCP to kind of illustrate this point. So prior to MCP, it was of course possible to connect your data tools and tools to an LLM, but this required individual connections. It required the requisite knowledge of each and the technical expertise to action it. Now, if you think of each of these connections as a different language that requires either speaking the language or knowing someone that does that can translate it for you. But with MCP, there's now this one universal language for connecting your data to an AI agent or an LLM. Think of MCP almost like Google Translate for all of these different languages, right? It's this layer that simplifies the process of connecting external data sources. So why is this important? It means integrating data without reinventing the wheel for each combination of AI model and an external system. So again, think of MCP as a language for your AI agent. Now that we kind of understand what it is, let's talk about why it matters right now, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening in a really specific moment in time. So, right now where we're at, I hear from every team I speak to, we've got too much data. There's too many dashboards, tabs, tools, and that we're drowning in it. And at the same time, you're all being asked to move faster, to use AI to automate, to summarize and make decisions. But there's this trust gap that exists because as powerful as these tools are, ungrounded AI can sound really smart, but still be quite wrong some of the time. And then there's what I call this kind of integration drag, right? Insights get stuck because they don't live where people work. It might be in a dashboard that no one checks or a tool that isn't connected. So these actions stall. Now, where we really want to be and what MCP enables is we want the data to work with us, not against us. So we want, existing environments and workflows to be supercharged with data that matters. We want the setup to take minutes rather than months. And we want this grounded AI, systems that don't hallucinate, but that understand or are informed by real user behavior. So that's where kind of MCP takes us. It bridges this gap between the data that we have and the decisions that we need to make. Now, the existence and design of MCP is really indicative of a paradigm shift in the way users want to interact with data and tools. We're observing this kind of mindset shift from traditional SAF where you tell multiple tools in your stack exactly what you want them to do, to a future where AI helps you achieve what you want to accomplish in a singular workflow and interface. So again, what is it about MCP that makes it a catalyst for this paradigm shift? And why does it matter to you? Think of MCP as removing three of the big friction points in AI and more general digital intelligence workflows. The first is trust. This isn't generic web data or synthetic input. It's real digital consumer behavior, grounding your AI so that you can trust those answers and reduce those hallucinations. Now, the second point here is all around accessibility. And I think this is really, really critical. You don't need to be a data engineer to get Similarweb data where you need it. It's very much self-service. And the way that we've kind of achieved this is by adding this context layer that works across all of our metrics and our API endpoints to ensure that you can kind of query the data in natural language, which makes it very accessible for everyone. And I think the third thing here is speed. From the moment that you integrate this, it's very, very quick, and your teams can go from question in natural language to a tailored insight in literally minutes. And I'll show you this later. And I think together that's what makes MCP a real breakthrough for you, our users. So hopefully that gives some context as to what MCP is and why it's a game changer, and in my opinion anyway. And I'm going to hand you over to Omri to talk to you specifically about Similarweb's MCP server.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Great start for the session, and great to see all the great people here. I think we built our MCP with you and AI agents in mind. Our core value proposition in Similarweb is our data, and being able to use it seamlessly is a key value that we in DAS and in the data organization are continuously thinking about and working on innovating. And the more I work with AI in my day-to-day and the more I use it, the more I understand how much the underlying data and grounding of the AI to the actual truth is so important. And one of the things we did here is we didn't just build an MCP on top of our API. That's simple, that's easy. But we actually had to transform our API to fit in the new age of AI. Essentially, in order to build this MCP, we had to transform our API infrastructure and completely rebuild it. One of the things we did is, of course, adding a context layer. So the models can actually read our API, understand what they need to use, at which point in time, and how to use our API in order to get the data easily, simply, and fast. We had to unify some of the endpoints to make it easy for the agent to use it. So it's not just build on top of our API, it's actually doing much, much more. And you can now do essentially all the use cases you used to do with our API on the platform and just make it directly available in the AI, in the LLM that you're currently using. Every use case, every task you wanted to automate, you wanted to build an agent for, you can now do it essentially in minutes. And the possibilities are endless. I'll show you in a few seconds where you can connect it, and Andrew will show you what you can do with it. And we're seeing more and more clients who just want to, wake up in the day, in the morning, run their agents, run their AI, do whatever they want, and essentially understand what their competitors are doing, get the insights of what they should do in order to grow next, to grow their market, to do next, and to plan their day, essentially. And this can be done with RMCP and the LLMs connected, and essentially you can connect many more tools, as Andrew highlighted. And I had actually a very interesting and unique use case recently, something that, in Similarweb we do not usually think about, is finding if a website is a piracy website. And it used our MCP and web search to understand what the website is about, and then see how the traffic inside of it is doing. So we built an agent to understand the traffic patterns, to understand the connections, and then run this and essentially understand, is this website a piracy or not? So you can do all the regular use cases, SEO, market research, competitive intelligence, prospect intelligence, but also many more unique use cases you just need to think about and understand. We're covering essentially over 100 metrics at this point in time in those categories that you see here highlighted, from traffic and engagements to audience analysis, segment demographics, and the deep dive into the actual websites, folders, popular pages, the technologies. We also have app intelligence data in our API, and more metrics coming soon. And essentially search, which we are just now releasing, keywords data available on the API very quickly, and very great metrics. Essentially, you ask, where can I connect the MCP to? And it's a question we ask frequently, and it's a very simple answer, to be honest. Anywhere that allows MCPs to be connected, essentially to any platform, any one that has a custom connector, any developer, any app. And I actually had a wonderful, very great time last week Yeah, I'm a data geek. I opened OpenAI in the dev day last week. They introduced their agent builder. First day, got access to it, 11 p.m. here in Israel. And besides just being super excited, in minutes, I had the MCP set up and build the agent for me. I built 4 agents in just a few minutes with our MCP, with our data, that essentially can now run on ChatGPT Agent Builder. So had a very fun time. We have many more connectors working and easily connected. And you must be wondering, essentially, how you can access or who can access the MCP. And the fun thing, no added cost. Essentially, anyone with the API, with our DAS set of products, can start literally in a few minutes today. You're using the same API key for the REST API, the same data credits that you got with the Similarweb subscription. So you should be good to go from day one. We're not charging any extra for this. We want to make this available, easy to use, and ready to go from day one for you guys. So I think now I'll turn it over back to Andrew to see it in action.
Wonderful. Thanks, Omri. Yeah, so I think this is a bit that everyone wants to see, right? Can we actually see it working? So just quickly before we jump into the live demo that I'm going to be going through, I think it's really important to address the broad applications of Similarweb's MCP server. In practice, there are kind of these three broad ways we see customers using MCP. The first is very much kind of on-demand insights. Like think of this as, ad hoc reporting inside chatbots like Claude when you need a really quick answer or you need to put a quick report together. So really accessible, really easy for everyone to use it. The second is this more like agent-driven intelligence. So this is where you create agents that have defined roles that continuously draw on Similarweb data. And that'll often be alongside other sources of data, your first party, other third party data, and creating something that is very, very role defined. Now, the third sort of broad application of this is what I'm referring to here as developer applications. So this is where teams use MCP to simplify native integrations and code level agents. Now, together, I think these three cover everything from a quick question to always on intelligence, all the way to technical builds, all powered by MCP. And, I can't emphasize enough that, MCP truly is for everyone. Everyone can use it, everyone can benefit from it. So, I bet you're asking, well, how do I actually go in and how do I set this up? So, it's really, really simple to set up. There are, of course, a few prerequisites, but setting up MCP literally takes 5 minutes. So I'll use Claude here to illustrate this. Now, your prerequisites are obviously you have to have an active Similarweb API subscription with a REST API key, have your MCP enabled AI client. So you'll see Claude Desktop here in the video. And the steps are really simple. You locate the configuration file in Claude, which is in the settings of Claude. You configure the MCP server by putting the URL in. You restart Claude, you verify that it's active, and then you can configure the different types of data categories that you want to include within here. Now, we have this slide for you, but there's also the documentation down here as well. So you can link to that. We'll share it afterwards. You'll be able to easily access all of this API documentation as well. So the demo, seeing it live. I'm going to show a couple of examples. The first will be in Claude. So I'll show you it live, and then and that's very much that sort of first bucket that we spoke about the, very quick insights, very ad hoc. I'm also, as Omri mentioned earlier, I'm going to show you how we can actually integrate Similarweb data into an agentic workflow as well. But yeah, let's jump into Claude. Hopefully everyone can still see this. So, again, I mentioned natural language earlier. You can do a very quick input, do me a quick traffic report on the top 5 sites in the fashion and apparel industry. Now, if I hit enter, there's a couple of things that I really want you to focus on here. The first is that when I'm putting my input, what you'll see is I'm not specifying my domains. I'm not telling it exactly which metrics you want to use. But yeah, it's very, very easy to do this. Now, what I want to go in and show you is actually some that I've actually launched earlier, so it doesn't take too long. But this is exactly the same input. So you can see here, do a traffic analysis of the top type 5 domains in the fashion and apparel category. Now, as the MCP is working, that context layer that Omri mentioned, it's able to understand, even with a basic input where I'm not specifying the domains and I'm just giving it the country and the time frame, which endpoints to connect to and which metrics to use for this report. So you can see that it's bringing all of that, and this from start to finish takes about 5 minutes. So you can see it's pulling traffic and engagement data, it's bringing traffic sources. And this is where the native power of the LLM really comes in, right? Because you're taking that Similarweb data and it's not just pulling the data points for you, it's giving you an executive summary. It's giving you a breakdown of these top domains within the fashion and apparel industry as an example here. So we've got the retailers such as Shane at the top with all of their traffic breakdown period over period as well. And again, it does some of that analysis. So it pulls out the key insight and it gives you strategic recommendations. Now, this example that I'm showing you here, it's very quick. You can use natural language, so it's very, very accessible. But often, with LLMs like this, your output is as good as your input. So what I want to show you is a quick example of something that I created that's a little bit more detailed. So in here, rather than a single line prompt input, what we've done is we've still kept it simple, but we've included more comprehensive instructions. So we've given the LLM a role as a digital intelligence analyst within here. We've given it scope and we've given it guidance on the type of analysis that we want to see. Now, the process after we do this is very, very simple. And, if you guys have questions about, how best to prompt in the LLMs, we're here for you. Reach out to us, speak to your account manager. We're always happy to help. And, we're building out a prompt library for you as we speak as well. So you'll have access to that very soon. But yes, if we come down into here, it's going through the very similar process. And what you can also do is if you want something a little bit more interactive and executive ready, I've used a prompt in here where I've said, design me a dashboard with all of our branding in and ensuring it has different tabs. So again, start to finish, this probably took about 15-20 minutes to get this. And you can see that it then creates a dashboard using all of this Similarweb data, gives you the executive summary. It allows you to see growth analysis, so seeing how it's evolving over time and giving you insights on this. You can also see, demographic and marketing channel breakdowns. And one of the great things as well is you can start to combine all of your different Similarweb data sets in one place. So I've brought mobile app penetration into this dashboard as well, so we can see how that works for this particular use case. And again, you have all of your conclusions and 90-day action plan built into here as well. So I think to summarize, the chatbot interfaces when you use a Claude or a ChatGPT are inherently a bit iterative. You have to put in your initial prompt, then you ask it to make you a dashboard. But if you want something that is a little bit more pre-configured and role-defined and autonomous, this is where creating agents comes into its own. So what I'm going to quickly show you is how you can integrate Similarweb data into an agentic workflow using OpenAI. So to do this, I'm going to use the agent builder. Omri mentioned this only got released by OpenAI last week, so it's very, very new. I'm not sure if anyone on the call has had an opportunity to go in and test it out, but it is very, very cool. If you come into the agent builder here on the left-hand side, what you have the ability to do is create an agent workflow, but I'm going to show you one that I already created for a market intelligence report writer. So, when I created this, I sat down and went, right, if I was doing a market intelligence report, what are the different stages that I go through when I put this together? And, it's really easy to integrate MCP. So you can just drop the node in, click on it, go to ads, add your server within here, use the MCP URL, and then your authentication type is a custom header with an API key. So it's that easy. You put your REST API key in, and that allows you to configure similar web data within your agent. Now, in terms of kind of like best practices, like I say, thinking about what each stage of your workflow is can really help. So when I do a market intelligence report, my initial stage is to go and do desk research. So I go out to the web. So I've got a node in here that has specific instructions on going out and doing desk research. Now, I said to it, only consider certain websites that I want you to go and look at, as an example. Now, what that helps do is it creates context. It gives industry-wide context for the data analyzer. And this is where I've brought Similarweb data into this agentic workflow. So, this is where the MCP is connected and all of the Similarweb data becomes available. Now, the great thing about this is it's not just Similarweb data. If you have other data within your ecosystem that you want to use alongside it, you can configure other MCP servers in here. And, the final stage of my flow when I'm doing this is to have a report writer. So something that contextualizes everything, brings it together and puts together a concise report. So yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a bit of an idea of how, you can use it in the likes of Claude, but also how you can incorporate Similarweb's MCP server and data into a more agentic flow. So that was the demo, but before I pass you over to Sharan, who's going to take you through some of the work we've been doing on our ready-to-use agents in the Similarweb platform, we do have one more question for you. So, what's the number one thing holding you back from trusting AI for daily decisions? And you'll probably have seen the poll that's come up in front of you here. So, yeah, would love your input on this. Cool. I can see the answers flowing. It looks like, yeah, really interesting stuff that's coming in here. Okay, we're going to shut the poll and share the results. So it's really interesting. Omri, what do you think about this? If you can see them, it looks like inaccurate, hallucinated answers is by far and away the most popular answer to this question. Is that any surprise to you?
I feel you guys. I feel you. I think this is one of the most important things that I see AI doing. It essentially wants to please all of you and us specifically. So it hallucinates. It provides inaccurate data, and it makes tons of sense. Um, yeah, I think that makes tons of sense, Andrew.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've shown you everything around MCP so far, and that's how you can bring, similar web data into your own environments. But we've also put a lot of effort into creating ready-to-use agents in our web intelligence platform for some of your core use cases. So I'm going to hand you over to Sharan to take you through these now. So you're Sharan.
Amazing. You see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Thanks, Andrew. So, first of all, thanks for kind of walking us through the MCP and the capabilities and seeing how easy it is. I'd like to build on that. And basically, as you just mentioned, we have been investing heavily in kind of making the time to insight much easier and much faster, and kind of having the AI agent incorporated in the platform already. So basically, we've kind of defined specific roles depending on what type of AI agent we're dealing with, but to provide solutions to different business use cases. So as you're going to see right just in a second, we're going to have a demo on AI agents specifically. We're going to introduce two of them today. But basically, I know a lot of you got to already test them and explore them but they are here to kind of leverage Similarweb data and to help you to make decisions quicker. If it's, kind of finding new opportunities, threats, or even understanding what is happening in the market in a much easier way. So these are the AI agents we have introduced just a couple of months ago. We have the Trend Analyzer agent. Pretty much what he does is it helps us to detect what is the reason for a specific spike. So if we encounter a specific spike in user interest, we want to know what has been causing that spike, what happened, if it's a regulation, if it's a law, if it's elections, whatever happened in the market that could have caused this significant increase in spike. And also the AI SEO strategy agent, which this agent basically transfers real user search behavior to actionable insights. So letting us know where are kind of our opportunities, gaps in content, what are our competitors doing very well when it has to do with topics and to actual content, and even provides us kind of recommendations and what should we do more, what should we be doubling down on. So I want to show it to you live on the platform itself. I will continue with Andrew's example on fashion and apparel industry. Basically, what I'm currently interested in is kind of exploring the recent demand trends. So you have here, right, the demand trends, and all the keywords you're seeing here is the actual user search behavior. So these are real signals of user consumer demand that instantly kind of tell us what is the direction of user interest? So what are they focusing on? Is there a surging trend that I should be aware of? So just for the example for today, I took the last 3 months, but you can of course get data much more much more fresh data. You can see the last 28 days, for example, and choose whatever country you want. But what I was looking for is kind of the combination between both an increase in overall traffic. So we see like an increase compared to the previous period, but also a combination with a massive amount of clicks. So not just because when I'm doing my research or whatever analysis I'm interested in doing, I want to make it meaningful enough. So if I allocate my resources, I want it to be impactful. So something that kind of caught my eye is, besides kind of branded terms here, we see here a very almost 300% increase in tuck white pants with overall click amount of 130K. For me, this is a very kind of significant amount, something that might kind of indicate a new beginning of a new trend or something that I should be even aware of. Now, what I did next is easily took this term and kind of used the assistance of the platform to elaborate, expand this keyword list to make it more comprehensive, a little bit more robust for the idea. And the idea behind expanding this list is to make sure I fully capture the topic, make sure I fully cover and understand what is going on. So once I did a little bit, I added around 20 keywords, and I have a new keyword list. And the idea here is that at this stage, no matter what hat I'm putting on, if it's from a fashion brand or if I'm on the retail side, if you think about it, the question is pretty much the same. The goal is the same. We all want to catch trends at their very initial stages before they become this mainstream. We want to make sure our strategy or even everything we kind of focus on, build, promote, launch, whatever it is, we want to make sure it really resonates and align with what users are actually looking for. So you can see here very, very nicely that there has been a 10% increase in the overall interest on wide pants, different phrases that are related to wide pants. And we see a very, very significant increase in the past just 2 weeks ago. So in September, we see a 30% increase on this topic on its own. So interestingly, I would like to analyze this section and understand first of all, what were the terms? So what were the different phrases that users used and looked for when they search on different engines? But even more than that, what happened in the market as a whole, in the industry, in the fashion and apparel industry, that caused such a significant increase in user interest? So the next thing you have here is the analyze. This is the first kind of introduction to our trend analyzer, and it will let me know, kind of connect the dots for me and let me know what happened that caused a significant increase. So I just ran it before the session to save all of us some time. But basically, it starts with providing me different phrases and terms that saw the most significant increase, that were responsible for the significant increase. That for me on its own is a very important thing to know. Not something that we couldn't have done in a different way on the platform, but for this to be summarizing, and it took not more than like 30 seconds for it to summarize for me all the keywords and the phrases I should be focusing on in my SEO strategy and content promotions, language, whatever I'm kind of launching. This is very important. Now, besides that, I'm even interested in knowing what happened, as we mentioned. So I went ahead and the agent did it for me. I didn't do anything. September 25, there was a significant global spike in search interest for wide leg pants and jeans. This trend was driven by celebrity influencers and, of course, the fashion fall and winter fashion shows. So I really can now easily connect the dots of what happened, when did it happen, and then what was the result out of that. Now, once I understood that is the direction, I would like to understand who is competing with me on that space. So even if I am already have this product in our clothing line or whatever it is, I'm also very interested in knowing who are the domains, competitors, players in the market that I need to be aware of. It could be who I have like partnership opportunities to grow my expansion with, but also it could be who is taking some pieces of my cake. So it's really interesting for me to see that, for example, on this specific term in September, we see that Gap is the most dominant in terms of share of total traffic share for these related keywords. 13%. Now, if I, for example, wear the hat of American Eagle, standing in second place, gaining 10% of the overall traffic share, my next question would probably be, what do I need to do? What are they doing better than I am? What can I improve? Where should I be doubling down on? What should I be writing on? And this is exactly where the SEO content strategy agent makes your life so much better. So you have here start content plan, super easy. All I need to write is what is my main domain. I'm now putting the hat of American Eagle, and I'm interested in seeing what additional kind of topics can I be writing about. So American Eagle, I chose the keyword. It could be a specific keyword. It could be a whole list, whatever you choose. And of course, a country, and I run my analysis. Now, the moment I start running my analysis, it will give me the top performing pages. It will give me recommendations. It will give me what are the top performing keywords for these topics. It did start kind of running. Again, I ran it before, and basically what we're able to see now is kind of top performing pages, what works well for my competitors, providing me a very nice kind of an executive summary. As you see here, a lot of major things. But not only that, it has an added value of actually optimizing my content strategy. So providing me tips and recommendations on what should I be changing, on what type of, in this case, what type of products, what type of content do I need to be kind of fine tuning to make it more kind of comprehensive, but also competitive enough. So we have here a full list. At the end, it does this very nice kind of PDF report. So here, just an example, existing content optimization. So it took content pieces like articles on my American Eagle on my domain, and it gives me under like a full kind of analysis. What should I be doing or changing? At the end, it has this PDF file strategy report that it prepares for us. You can easily download it to a PDF, and then you have everything ready, super structured, super efficient, very easy. And this took me not more than like, and I'm exaggerating, maybe 3 minutes. So you do not need to be, all over the place or sometimes even overwhelmed with where should I be even starting from. This is exactly where It makes our life super easy, very fast, very efficient, and you can always kind of fine tune the input in terms of like what keywords or what country or what domain or what you can really do small fine tunes that kind of correlate with your KPIs to make it as kind of aligned and as accurate to your exact needs. So this has been the two AI agents we have already introduced. But we do have upcoming AI agents. We're super, super excited to be working on these because these were designed based on actual needs that rise, from client feedbacks or from actual marketing kind of dynamics. So some of them, for example, are competitive intelligence agent and ad creative agents. So really, really exciting things coming up. And yeah, if you have any questions, of course, all the Similarweb team is here. And we would love you guys to start exploring it and testing it.